This is a text-to-speech model running on my laptop. No API key, no account, no per character billing. It's free, it's Apache licensed, and I can use the output commercially. It also can't pronounce its own name.
Kokoro.
It's kokoro. I spent a weekend replacing a paid voice service with this. It works, and I'm keeping it. But almost nothing about getting there was in the documentation. So this is the setup and the 4 things that broke. 4 problems, in the order they hit me. 1. It ran 4 times slower than it needed to, out of the box, and nothing told me. 2. It mispronounces things, and not the things you'd expect. Numbers are fine, $signs are not. 3. The documented fix for that silently doesn't work. No error. It accepts your correction and ignores it. 4. The delay before it starts talking and what streaming actually buys you. And one thing that is not a problem so much as a warning. There is no good male voice in this model. The model knows it, and it tells you if you look. Everything I measured is on this machine, an M4 Pro. I'll say that again later because 2 of these results invert on different hardware, and I have the numbers from both. 2 packages, Kokoro pulls PyTorch, so this is not small. 1 GB of virtual environment, almost all of it PyTorch. The model itself is a separate download and it's much smaller. First run pulls the model from Hugging Face, 315 megabytes cached once. And then it does something the docs don't mention. It downloads a spacey language model too, 12.8 megabytes at 500 kilobytes a second, and nothing warned me it was coming. If you're installing this on a metered connection or inside a Docker build, that's a surprise you'd rather have now than in your build pipeline. After that, it's cached. Warm start is 3.84 seconds. 54 voices ship with it. American, British, and 7 other languages. These are the English ones I'd actually audition.
Kokoro runs on my laptop. No account, no API key.
Here's the first thing I checked, because on a paid service, this would cost you differently. Does the voice you pick change what it costs to run? No. 0.138 to 0.146 across 5 voices. That spread 4.6 across 5 voices. That spread is noise. Every voice costs the same to run, but what the voice does change is quality. And the model tells you exactly how much. Most people never look. Every voice ships with a grade, a through F. It is in the model card, and it is based on how much training data that particular voice actually got. Let's listen to the voice A minus Bella.
Kokoro runs on my laptop. No account, no API key.
Now we will listen to B minus Nicole.
Kokoro runs on my laptop. No account, no API key.
The best voice in the model is graded A. The worst is graded F+. And here is the part that matters if you want a male narrator. There is not one English male voice in this model graded above C+. Not one. The best female voices are A and A-. The best male voice you can get is C+.
Kokoro runs on my laptop. No account, no API key.
I found that the slow way. I picked a male voice, thought the model sounded rough and throaty, and assumed I had configured something wrong. I had not.
Kokoro runs on my laptop. No account, no API key.
That voice is graded F+. It is the lowest graded voice in the entire model, and no amount of post-processing fixes it because it is in the weights. Real-time factor is the number that matters. Synthesis time divided by audio duration. 0.125 means 1 second of speech takes 1/8 of a second to generate, about 8 times faster than real time. That's the default. 3.5 times faster on the GPU. Same model, same text, same machine. The pipeline does not pick metal for you. On Apple Silicon, out of the box, you are running on the CPU at 3.5 times the cost, and nothing tells you. You have to pass device equals MPS yourself. One argument. At 0.034, an hour of finished audio generates in about 2 minutes. Now, here's why I keep saying, on this machine. I run the same model on an Android phone. On a Snapdragon 8 Elite, the accelerator path's lost. NNAPI came in at 0.90, XNNPACK at 1.03, plain CPU beat both at 0.44. On the phone, the accelerator is slower. On this laptop, it's 3.5 times faster. Same model, opposite conclusion. Hardware advice doesn't transfer, and the only way to know is to measure on the machine you're shipping on. I write about API pricing, so I assume numbers would be the problem. They're not. Decimals, percentages, hyphenated model names, n equals 20. All correct. It even gets Nginx right, which I did not expect. What breaks is symbols. $3/$15. The first $sign is dropped entirely, and the slash and the second $sign fuse into one word. 3/$15. I say that string constantly. _control. The underscore is swallowed silently. One word, no pause. If you're reading identifiers aloud, every single one of them is wrong. SQLite loses the L. Async gets read as async, the wrong vowel. So, currency, slashes, underscores, and proper nouns, not digits. There's a documented fix. The G2P layer has a lexicon of gold entries and you can add your own IPA. That works. My name was wrong, now it's right. Async was wrong, now it's right. So I added kokoro. Still wrong. No error, no warning. It accepted the entry and ignored it. Lowercase works. All caps works. Title case doesn't. Title case routes through the proper noun path, and that path never consults your override. You have to register the capitalized form as a second entry. So I did. Lowercase, uppercase, title case, all registered, fixed. Then I tried it on SQLite. Still wrong, because SQLite is not lowercase, it is not uppercase, and it is not title case. It is a fourth thing. If you take the word SQLite and apply title case to it, what you get is SQLite. Capital S and nothing else, which is not how anybody writes it. Same for PyTorch, same for GitHub, macOS, NPM, and every other name that capitalizes itself its own way. There is no rule that recovers those from the lowercase form, so you have to write the word exactly the way you write it and register that. Think about which words you'd add to a pronunciation dictionary. Product names, people's names, company names, every single one of them is written in title case. The fix fails on exactly the words you added it for. This is the third time in 3 projects I've hit this shape. Prompt caching silently returns a 0 instead of erroring when your prompt is under the cache minimum. On the phone, I had a flaw in my own code that overrode a measurement the same code had just calculated correctly. And now this. The bug that errors costs you an hour. The bug that succeeds quietly and does the wrong thing costs you a weekend. Synthesize a page in one call and you wait for all of it. 2.56 seconds of silence before you hear a single word. Fine for a file, useless for anything interactive, streaming fixes it. Cut the text up, play chunk 0 while you synthesize chunk 1. The only wait is the first chunk, 2.9 times sooner to first word. There's a trap here, and I want to be honest that it doesn't bite on this machine. The rule is that the next chunk's synthesis has to finish before the current chunk's audio runs out. Break it, and the speaker runs dry mid-sentence. On this laptop, synthesis would have to get 14 times slower before that happens. I deliberately shrank the first chunk on CPU to try to force it and still couldn't. 8 times headroom. On the phone, at real-time factor, 0.44, rising to 0.85 when it gets hot. That rule is the entire problem. Shrinking the first chunk to start sooner is what causes the gap, and the fix is to make it bigger and start later. That's a whole video, and it's the next one. One more thing about long narrations, because this one caught me out. The model is not deterministic. Same text, same voice, same device, same settings. Generate it twice and you get 2 different waveforms. Not different words and not different timing. The sample count is identical, but the audio underneath it is not. And it happens on the CPU as well as the GPU, so it is not a hardware ordering artifact, which means you cannot patch. If you regenerate 10 seconds in the middle of a finished section, it will not match the material around it. Re-render whole sections or do not re-render at all. I'm not going to read my build to you because you can't reproduce that. Here's the arithmetic from published rates instead. This script is about 11,000 characters. On the starter plan, at $6 for 30,000 credits, that's about $2.20 per video, but 30,000 credits a month means under 3 videos and you're out. Weekly, which is what I'm aiming for, is about 47,000 characters a month. That's the creator plan. $22 a month, $264 a year, forever, to narrate a channel. And I should be straight with you about something. The voice reading this to you is the paid one. That's what $22 a month sounds like. And that's the bill that sent me looking in the first place. Here's the free one.
That's what $22 a month sounds like.
Kokoro, a 315 megabyte download, once, and the generation time isn't the trade-off you'd expect. At the real-time factor I measured on Metal, the 13 minutes of narration in this video generates in about 27 seconds. One more thing, and it's the part most people miss. The free tier of a hosted service doesn't give you commercial rights, you cannot monetize content made on it, and you're required to put the provider's name in your video title. That's why I'm on a paid plan and not a free one. Kokoro is Apache 2.0. Commercial use, no attribution, no account. That's not a discount. It's a different legal position. Where it wins, anything at volume, apps, assistant, audiobooks, accessibility, anything where per character billing scales against you, where it doesn't. Find emotional control and voice cloning. If you need a specific performance, a hosted service is still better. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Everything's in the repo, the command line tool, the benchmark, the streaming version, and the lexicon with both casings registered.
SQLite and async and cache control.
The things nobody tells you. It picks the slow device. It breaks on symbols and not on numbers. The pronunciation fix ignores title case and then ignores SQLite for a completely different reason. There is no good male voice in it, and it will not give you the same audio twice. Next one. I run this same model on a phone where every one of these numbers gets worse and the chunk scheduling stops being an optimization and starts being the whole problem. I run this same model on a phone, a Snapdragon, no real GPU, and it throttles the moment it gets warm. Every number in this video gets worse there, and the gaps came back. The fix turned out to be the opposite of what I expected. To make it sound faster, I had to make it start later. That is the next video. If you know someone still paying per character for this, send them this video. That is genuinely the fastest way this channel reaches the people it is useful to. And subscribe if you want the phone one when it lands. Everything you saw here is in the repo, linked in the description.